Alright, so kind of just getting into it further. So we're at the uh, topography module right here. We're just gonna continue. So there's 67. So we're at 29. With your .calories info element, create a div element, give that div element a class attribute set to left container. Within the newly created div element, create a h2 element with the text amount per serving. Give the h2 element a class attribute set to, alright, so I guess it's another div. Because the original element is already a div. Class left container. Alright. Now within that, so make sure my audio is working. Create an h2 element. Now this is going to have the text amount per serving. And we're going to give it a class. So congratulations, the code passes. Looks like we did kind of what it wanted us to do. The rem unit stands for root m and is relative to the font size of the HTML element. Create a small text selector. Alright, so how do we create any selector? It's like this. And set the font size to 0.85 rem, which would roughly be, so that should be 13.6 pixels. Remember that you set your HTML to have a font size of 16 pixels. Okay. So that's right here. So all of HTML code kind of by default is going to have 16 pixels right there. But yeah, that's code, and the code passes. Calories info H2. Alright, and then just by moving the margins, gonna make it 0. I think 0 should be enough. Yep. Below your small text element, create a new P element within the text calories. Below your small text element, create a new P element. Alright. Then also creating a span element. Alright. $2.30. So I think actually I would usually do it next to it. Well, actually no. Does it matter if I make it next to it or below it? It would have the same effect, so I don't know. Alright, I think that works. So now it's kind of looking more like a nutrition label. Oh, okay. Yeah, because so when they say below the left container, okay, hold on, below your small text element, so that's right here, it's saying to put this, but it's saying below the dot left container element, which is this, so that includes all of this. So when they say the span element should come after it, it means that it should be after all this. Alright, looks like the code passes. Create a new .calories info selector. Alright. Now giving it a display and setting it to flex. And then a justify content property being set to space between. And align items set to flex end. Okay. Create a new .left container. I guess for the P selector, so every paragraph in a .left class, every P element in a .left container class. It'll be this. Alright, so you remember the margin clock model where, alright, so top is 12 o'clock, so top is minus 5 pixels. Now what's 3 o'clock is to the right. So what's the right? It's 2 pixels, negative 2 pixels. So negative 2px. Oh, and no commas. I always put commas. Alright, so now we're at 3 o'clock, now 6 o'clock. So that would be bottom, right? So what's bottom? Alright, it's also minus 5 pixels. Alright, so now 9 o'clock, that's left. So that's minus 2 pixels. So that's right, I believe. And now font size, set them at the 2 EM. And font weight, to 700. Congratulations, your code passes, and that your code to continue. Create a dot calories span. Set the font size to 2.4 EM and font weight to 700. Code passes. So typography is often more art than science. You may have to tweak things like alignment until it looks correct. Alright. Give your dot calories info span selector margin set to alright. So we'll shift the 230 text into place. Okay, the code passes. Below the dot calories info element, add a div element. Alright, so okay, so now I'm kind of understanding what they mean. When they say dot calories info element, okay, they marked me here, so that would kind of imply that my suspicion would be this is the closing of that dot calories info element. So we'll see if that's true. So this would kind of correspond to this. And this would correspond to this. So that's the dot calories info element. So when they say that, the dot calories dash info element, they mean this entire block of code. It's because everything is inside of the dot calories info element, and we'll thus apply that class. So now that it did mark us here, below that is saying add another div with the class set to divider medium. Congratulations, your code passes. create a dot medium selector. All right. And give it a height of 5 pixels. All right, the code passes, and now we're on 40. Create a new div below your dot medium element. Give it a class attribute set to, all right, so I'm just gonna create it. So I believe actually, just I kind of want to make a comment on this. If my understanding is correct, you know, it doesn't just say medium, where we kind of invoke a dot medium class selector. So it's like whenever we're referring to a class, it's always dot such and such class. Here's my understanding of what's going on here. So div is short for divider, right? So by making it called divider medium, it's basically another way of saying that it's a div with the medium class. Just like if this was a paragraph, it would be P, or the long version of it, medium. That's my understanding. I kind of don't 100% know if that's true, but that's my understanding. And if I'm correct, using these two classes, and this is kind of what I'm more sure about, using these two classes, they just need a space, and then it's applying both the classes at the same time. So create a new class below your dot medium class and give it a class attribute set to this, which I believe is invoking two classes. Oh, actually, no. Hold on. So let me correct that original understanding. So there's a divider class that we built. This changes everything. There's a divider class that we built. So this is applying this divider class to this, and there's a medium class, so it's also applying this. So it's kind of like when you add it up, it's like this and this code. Just like the daily value, my suspicion is we haven't created. It's kind of a situation where we haven't created the code yet. Yeah, we haven't created the code. We haven't created the class yet, but we're going to. So daily value, I think, is just not there. But small text is. So now there is a class that's being applied. So I think the next thing we're going to do is apply it. Okay. Within this new div, add a P element with the text daily value. Okay. And we're supposed to have a P element. supposed to be in a P element. And that class is going to be set to bold right. So I remember there being a bold class. But is there a right class? I don't see a right class, but I do know we have a bold class. So my suspicion is we're going to create a bold class and a daily value class, because those are classes we're apparently referring to that are not there. Code passes. All right. So the text daily value should be aligned to the right. Create a dot right selector. So then this is creating the class. So we were right. Justify content. Okay, so this should be flex end. Yeah, it's just memorization, I think. But using your existing divider element as an example to add a new divider after the P element. Okay. Alright, divider. Not sure if it's asking any text. Using your existing divider element as an example, we'll add a new divider after the P element. You create a new div. Oh, a new divider after the P element. Okay. I read that wrong. Alright. After your last divider element, create a P element and give it text total fat AG 10%. Alright, wrap the text total fat in a span element with a class of bold. Okay, so first of all, after your last dot divider element, after it, okay. So we're gonna give it the text. and total fat is going to be set to have a span element in it. And within that span element, I think that's actually going to have a class. Of bold, the one we created. And finally, nest the total fat span element. So that's this. And the 8G text in an additional span element. Okay, so this span element is going to close here. And start before it because it's nesting it. And is that right? I mean, is that it? It's just a regular span element? Okay, so your P element should have 3 spans. So it has 2. So hold on, let me read this a little closer. Wrap the dot 10% in another span element. Oh, okay. So we just have another one to do. Span and span, and that's going to have the class bold. So the 10% is another span element with the text bold, that's one span, and then the total fat and the G is in another span. It doesn't say what class to put it in. And the one with the total fat is in a span with also the class bold. So I believe that it meets all the requirements, and it says it does. So I think we got like 20 more. Alright, below your element with the total fat text, create a new P element with the text saturated fat. Alright, so below the total fat text, so that's right here. Create a new P element. With the text saturated fat right here. Okay. I just want to make sure I get it right. Alright, and that's gonna have a class of bold, because following the trend. And congratulations, the code passes. This new element will need to be indented. This new P element will need to be indented. Give it a class set to indent. Okay. So we haven't built that class, but it's going to ask us, I have a feeling it's going to ask us to create a selector for it. Create a new indent selector and give it a margin left property set to 1 EM. Create a new indent selector and give it a margin left property set to 1 EM. Alright. Congratulations, the code passes. Create a dot value daily value P selector. Yeah, so we haven't created actually a, I guess what they're having us do is create the class, but for only a certain element. Because it's not like there's a dot daily value class here, but they want us to also put it as if there is one. Select or target all of your P elements in the daily value section. Give this new selector a border bottom set to 1 px solid, let's see, 888, 888, 989. Alright, there we go. The bottom borders under your daily value and saturated. Alright, the bottom borders under your Alright, so that's here. And the saturated fat is right here. So the bottom borders under it So that's when so it's like, okay, so here's the daily value. Then if you look, there's a border, and then saturated fat, there's another border. I guess it's kind of harder to see. Um, yeah, actually, I'm gonna kind of end it off here, and start a new one. But yeah, that's about it for today. I think the next one we're gonna probably just finish this.